Israel is at war. Hamas terrorists have entered Israeli territory and entered up to 22, maybe even more, towns and military bases, probably slaughtering far over 100 Israeli citizens. And now the fighting is ongoing and a massive ground invasion into the Gaza Strip is to be expected. In this situation report about the situation in Israel and Gaza, we'll talk about the circumstances, what we know so far, and what the consequences will be in this region. Hello and welcome on this morning, the 7th of October. Palestinian terrorists have entered Israeli territory in a massive ground attack. At the beginning, we need to quickly summarize it here. We need to talk about the political side. Obviously, the debate about settlements, about the treatment of Palestinians is a political debate that can be argued one way or the other, where different opinions are absolutely legitimate. But there's one thing where it's clear, where we need to be clear and stick to the facts here, and this is that what terrorism is and what isn't is military forces of Hamas slaughtering civilians, slitting their throats, abducting children and elderly into the Gaza Strip. That is not a military operation. That's pure and that's terrorism, nothing else. This is not fighting against military forces, even though this also happened. But what happened was a massive terrorist attack, and it needs to be called as such, simply by sticking to the facts. As said, the debate about the treatment of Palestinians, about the settlements or something, or these details, that's something different. Their different points of views are absolutely legitimate. But if children, if women, if elderly, if civilians are abducted and carried away, if prisoners are being beaten up and paraded, if they are being humiliated, we're talking about terrorism, and we need to call it this. The fighting started with the launching of rockets on the Israeli south, but up to Tel Aviv. In total, several thousand rockets have already been fired. The numbers are unclear. The lowest I heard was 2,200. Some other informations were talking about over 3,000 that were being used. While Iron Dome managed to shoot down quite a number, there was still a lot of hits on the Israeli territory, as obviously the success rate is not 100%, and they might have been at least locally oversaturated, the Iron Dome batteries, so victims on the ground as well as damage occurred. After that, the ground attacks happened, and we actually have videos here of Hamas using drones to drop grenades on Israeli forces. Here we see a Merkava tank being hit here by a bomb from a drone. There's also a video published by Hamas where they show themselves attacking Israeli soldiers next to an ambulance, where it's being said to be a war crime, as this attack was meant towards the ambulance as well as the Israeli soldiers. Then several hundred Hamas fighters crossed over the border and entered into Israeli territory. They managed to cross the border fortifications and enter dozens of Israeli towns. The videos show them that they entered with pickup trucks. We see here an Israeli civilian actually taking a video from his balcony showing Hamas terrorists firing on an Israeli police car that is passing by, and they are simply driving around in Israeli towns. The fighting is also being shown here, where again Israeli civilians from their balcony can watch here. You see them here, 2 pickup trucks crossing and driving along the road, filled with armed militants, with terrorists inside of Israel. Several towns were apparently even fully captured. There was on Israeli news, there was an interview with a woman on the phone while terrorists tried to break open her front door. Dramatic scenes like this happened, but it wasn't just the ground and it wasn't just pickup. We have here, we see the Hamas fighters entering a town where you see motorcycles next to it and burning in the background, and those are civilian towns close to the Gaza Strip where they are charging in here now. But it wasn't just on the ground. We also see this here. they published videos that they actually use paragliders with engines to do air assaults. This is a completely new tactic that clearly surprised the Israelis, where they didn't expect it. And this video is supposedly showing in this connection that Hamas was using air assault troops as well. Also, the attacks happened by boat. While I do have some reports that the landings have been successful, that at least locally landings might have been successful, there's also a video published from the Israeli Defense Forces where they destroy boats along the coast filled with militants trying to enter Israel proper. The Hamas, at least temporarily, was able to gain a foothold. We see here a video of them inside a civilian area, inside a residential area, and you see while they are on guard, they are fairly relaxed. They are not encountering resistance at this very moment. Clearly have entered a residential building in the background, so they captured territory. And there are obviously videos of horrific scenes of civilians that have been slaughtered, both in their cars as well as in their homes. Here we have a picture clearly from a surveillance camera of a Hamas fighter, a Hamas terrorist in a residential building in southern Israel. They also attacked military bases before abducting civilians. We have seen in the attacks, we can see here the pictures of them abducting women with their children being drawn away. This video shows them driving them through Gaza, so they are already inside of Gaza while beating up on the people. There's also a video of a slain Israeli woman in her underwear that's being paraded inside of Gaza to cheering crowds, showing it here. This video is an elderly woman that was apparently to humiliate her, giving the AK-74 here from, is it a 74? No matter, the Kalashnikov from the Hamas fighters. The woman is visible on a video where she's inside of a car being abducted into Israel, and you see the rapid breathing on her chest, showing how nervous she is. So they are showing them now and are proud of having captured elderly people in their attack as well. Several military bases were also attacked, and the abduction supposedly had success in that the claims are that Brigadier General Nimrod Aloni was taken into Gaza. I have not found a confirmation yet outside of the mostly pro-Russian and pro-Palestinian circles, so this might be a false reporting. I'm not fully able to confirm it yet. At least there's a rough resemblance, and we do know that they have successfully entered Israeli bases where they surprised soldiers in their sleep and slaughtered them in this event, in this context. At least 3 military bases were also captured and entered. Some of them, as we can see, they're walking freely around with a Nammer, APC, and a Merkava in the background, having captured them. In times we see videos are appearing of them destroying the equipment. We see them having entered it here, and whole rows of military equipment standing around now being captured by Hamas fighters. And I think it's this video where we can see them, victims here, and here they are blowing up one of the Humvees here by setting fire to the gasoline inside of the tank. And there are several of those videos where they have entered the military bases, they've overrun them, they've taken prisoners, and they abducted alive soldiers, as well as took the bodies into the Gaza Strip. As of now, not only do we have videos of the whole barbarism that happened, including slaughtering of civilians, including the abduction of children, and seniors. The Israeli side are now saying that at least 100 Israelis are dead and over 1,000 are wounded in those attacks. Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, is already talking about war. This is not an operation. This is not a military expedition, not some military, some minor fighting. They are calling it a full-scale war that is about to break out, or that has basically broken out against Hamas. The Israelis already calling up reserves to a huge degree. The numbers are that at least 4 additional divisions are being moved to the south here, as well to reinforce the 22 battalions, no, the 31 battalions that are already fighting there. We see a map here from War Mapper. According to the information they found, how far the Hamas units have entered Israeli territory in their surprise attack. And if those numbers are true of the abducted personnel and of the abducted civilians, this is going to be a huge problem for the Israeli side. The lowest number I found was 35 people abducted into Gaza Strip. The number might well be over 100, significantly over 100 even, and we need to compare this to past events. Gilad Shalit was an Israeli soldier that was abducted, that was kidnapped into Gaza Strip and held there for 5 years. When the Israeli finally managed an exchange with Hamas, they had to release 1,000 male and 27 female prisoners. In total, of the first lot of the 477 prisoners, 279 had been sentenced to lifelong prison sentences, and all of the 27 female prisoners that had been released then had been in prison for security offenses. And in total of the 1,027 released prisoners, they were responsible for over 200 dead Israeli citizens. So for one soldier, Israel was forced to hand over 1,000 prisoners, a lot of them with lifelong sentences, a lot of them murderers and terrorists. And now there might be dozens of prisoners, basically giving the hope to the Palestinian side that over 7,000 prisoners, basically anyone that the Israeli have arrested, might be handed over in final negotiations once prisoner exchanges are to be made. This is clearly the biggest failure of the Israeli intelligence agency since the Yom Kippur War in 1973, which interestingly enough is almost exactly 50 years ago. It was on the 6th of October, not on the 7th like today, but it's basically exactly 50 years ago when this happened. The size of the attack clearly indicates months, if not years, of planning. The whole coordination shows that it was a sophisticated planning process where the Israeli clearly had no clue or no solid indication when it's happening, what are the targets, about the details. They were completely left in the dark and completely surprised. That the Hamas units managed to basically achieve operational surprise in this attack here is a huge blow to the Israeli side. And even though it is known that the Hamas leadership recently met with Hezbollah in Lebanon and with the Iranian leadership in Tehran, this clearly wasn't interpreted by the Israeli Defense Forces of a coming attack, as the images show that the military camps, even the military camps, where the Hamas was able to overrun them and completely surprise them, showing that they were self-confident and not expecting any attack. We also know that there are videos of muezzins in Jerusalem calling the believers, calling the Muslims to rise up against Israel, showing the coordination and the support for this attack in the West Bank, in the east of the Israeli territory, basically in the territory you see here. We see the context here that how big all of this can become. Because right now, the weakness that was demonstrated by the Israeli side could lead other actors to get involved as well. There are already reports that Egypt has said that according to their intelligence, if Israel enters the Gaza Strip, that Hezbollah will get involved. I don't see this being confirmed yet. I read that the United Nations forces, the peacekeepers in southern Lebanon, want to step up their attempts to prevent Hezbollah launching missiles. There were some rumors of already Hezbollah fighters having tried to enter Israel, but I've not seen any solid confirmation of this yet. Nevertheless, the demonstrated weakness of Israel will lead other actors to at least seriously consider getting involved in this as well, as this will not as this will be a massive involvement of the Israeli armed forces, which will then be distracted and open up avenues of attack or angles of attack for other actors as well. Hezbollah is obviously the prime suspect here, the prime candidate to get involved. As said, if the Israeli ground forces should enter the Gaza Strip, then heavy fighting is to be expected, and this would open up a window of opportunity for Hezbollah that has not been there in years, if not decades, as the Israeli ground forces will be seriously distracted in the south. Hezbollah itself has an insane rocket arsenal. In 2016, the high estimates were already at 150,000 rockets. It might be over 200,000 rockets and missiles now in the Hezbollah inventory. So the rain of rocket attacks on Israel could be immense in connection with several 10,000 potential Hezbollah fighters attacking Israeli on the ground. It's unclear how Iran will react to all of this, but obviously, should Hezbollah and Hamas get both involved, this will be the perfect opportunity for Iran to either get involved as well or to do the step towards nuclear armament, as Israel will be distracted as it has never been before since in the last 50 years, basically since the Yom Kippur War, which also surprised Israel on a complete operational level. And we can expect Iran to try to use this situation massively as well. The US have already announced that they will render every possible aid to Israel in this hour of need, but this already is leading to the expectations that this will be at the cost of Ukraine, which then, if in case it happens, would show who is profiting from it, and then lead to the accusations that this attack might have been in cooperation with the intelligence agencies from Russia. I do not see any clear evidence of this. I do not even see clear indications of this yet, but the accusations are already appearing, as well as we see from the Israeli side that they are saying that that Iran has to have been involved in the planning here. Overall, we can expect a longer military operation. It seems to be clear that a ground operation in Gaza is coming. The degree of it is unknown as of yet. The expectations are obviously that Israel will try to wipe out Hamas, for which they basically, at least temporarily, would have to occupy the Gaza Strip in total, leading to months of fighting probably and high casualties on both sides, but it's too early to say, and we'll obviously try to observe it on this channel as well. There are also some messages from Arab countries and from Turkey as well that warn Israel to not do a disproportionate attack, which then could be a massive invasion and even an occupation of Gaza Strip. So while it's unlikely that other Arab countries will get involved, it's at least not 100% impossible. We'll have to just watch and see how this all turns out. But we can clearly expect a massive war between Hamas and Israel in the coming months, probably likely weeks, but probably even months coming from now on. This was it from me for now. I plan to do something about the Ukraine war for today, but as you can imagine, I've been too busy to prepare anything for the Ukraine war as of now, but this should come in the near future on this channel again. If you like the support, please hit the thumbs up button. It really helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment to say your opinion, what you think, how this will turn out, and if other actors will get involved. And if you're new here, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. This channel is only possible because of the support of viewers like you. If you like to support the channel, you can do so by the means in the description. And that's it from me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back.